let's jump on into this. I'm very quickly going to tweet. Sorry, I'm very slow with one hand, so let me just tweet about this. Next up in OSC Masters Cup, hashtag 100 is Snute versus aLive. Get in here for some sick ZvT. And then I fail at typing my Twitch thing like 5 times. Somehow I've got caps lock on suddenly. Now I don't. God damn it. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Alright, guys, let's do this. Thank you so much for, again, your patience and sitting with us, waiting to get this started. I do appreciate. Just had a little bit of downtime. I mean, these guys were in game for so long, we casted another series in between them playing and still had downtime. It's kind of crazy. So I do apologize for that. Let's do this then to the upper left side of the map. It's going to be our blue Terran player. That was a great save, wasn't it? Our blue Terran player for Mind Sanity is aLive, who now has a cat portrait. I didn't know he had a cat portrait, actually. It's very, very new. Kind of exciting. Bottom right-hand side, from Team Liquid, the one true Zerg of Europe. Well, maybe not quite the one true Zerg of Europe. There's so many Zergs in Europe, but one of the greatest is, of course, Team Liquid's Snute in red. After this, we still have some more games from Snute. He has to play Cham. He has to play Optimus, I believe. We'll be trying to bring you guys as many of these games as possible. Again, a mixture of live matches and then matches from replays. The way this works is that there's 6 players in a round-robin format, which means 3 matches play at a time. We'll bring 5 of these matches live, and then we'll bring as many of the matches to you guys from replays as possible. That is realistic. We'll probably cast for kind of like 4 to 5 hours overall today. That's our general plan. As we see these couple of links from Snute going to come in here. I'm going to be trying to delay this CC, and they are going to be successful. Going to chase that SCV away. The Reaper was across the map. And so as the Reaper was across the map, aLive going to get back towards the upper left-hand side. Factory drops down onto the reactor, and we are going to be seeing this SCV actually might just die. I mean, I think he will. He's got nowhere to go. The Ling picks up the kill, and the Ling gets into the main base too. Great scan info here. He even delays the starport, even if by only a few seconds. It's still a delay on the starport, so Snute, in the very first 3 minutes of the game, has already found himself, obviously not major advantages, but it's annoying, it's nuisances, it's things that aLive doesn't want to have happen to himself in these early stages, as Snute might even just, oh wow, just doesn't get that SCV there. Really thought he might have been able to. A little bit unfortunate as we see, well, Snute just going to take the opportunity to drop down his third hatchery. His Link speed's finishing on up. He's being mining not too much further gas, he's just started to remine that once again now, but he's set up very nicely into the 3 bases and in towards his own mid-game, which from Snute we expect to be not maybe quite the normal ZvT playstyle. Sometimes he does love to play this Roach Ravager, kind of few infestors into Broodlord style. Sometimes now and then he will play kind of Lingbane Muto as well, change things up, and I'm not sure about whether he's played Lingbane Hydra so much, but he is one of the players who will play multiple styles, and with his own style being something that's fairly unique, it can create some interesting scenarios. I was going to be seeing Hellions into the main. Snute right now didn't actually have units how to really deal with this. Only 2 workers lost so far. Obviously the mine time will add up as well, though. A couple drones coming in to try and block for a little while longer. Still 3 Hellions, which is a dangerous number. We're now talking about 7 workers killed. For 4 Hellions, 7 workers, and the lost mining time, it's alright for aLive. He is continuing to make Hellions, and so it's justifiable to have lost his initial Hellions, because he will still have further map control on the map. Builds up his third CC now as well. Where does aLive want to go from here, I wonder? Does he want to go into mech, which is why he may be continuing to make Hellions, or will he bio-transition out of this? Again, something we'll be finding out very shortly, as Snute can't do much trying to go up this ramp here. Hellions in position will force those Zerglings away, so they have to pull back. Meanwhile, a Raven on the way up from aLive. It's his second Raven now, his first one on the way across the map to try and find some damage. 2 Evolution Chambers will come down from Snute in the main base. A couple of Evos on the way out, and we are just going to be seeing, I mean, Snute's still setting a very stand so far, and it is going to be Stim and therefore Bio coming out of aLive here, so yeah, I like it. Vikings picked up a couple of Overlords as well. I think he's actually sneaking into the main. Great scout, sees the third CC. Oh, now he gets that SCV. That would have been cheeky, as we see the Queen is going to start fighting this auto turret. 2 kills though from the Raven, and he is going to be pretty happy, pretty content with that, as the support will relocate just to help push the Raven back from coming too far forwards in future endeavors. Double engineering bay from aLive will finish, and he's going to be able to start his own upgrades pretty much at the same time as Snute starts his. It is going to be the missile upgrades as his choice here. We actually yet to see the Roach coming down, but it is the Roaches which Snute has full intention of moving on in towards in the next few minutes of this game. If those missile upgrades, you'd imagine led to start. Maybe there is a chance he plays kind of Ling Hydra, and we just haven't seen the Bane Nest yet. But no, there's the Roach. I think that was the more expected sort of way of this going around here. So we're going to be seeing the Auto Turret just sat in the mineral line again, just denying mining time, and that does add up over time. All that lost mining time is pulling away every now and then. You can see it here. Every time Snute pulls away, aLive takes a huge chunk of resources income advantage, even if it is for just a few seconds. 3 or 4 times throughout the game, 5 times, 6 times. You know, all of a sudden we're talking about half a minute, where aLive will have just been mining so much more than his opponent. There's that double Auto Turret actually in the third base. Has himself 3 workers and will nearly get the Spore Crawler too. 4 workers and nearly a Spore Crawler. That's good damage again by this Raven. Roach now finished done as the lair is also finished. We'll see that Roach Speed coming through. Infestation Bait actually drops down first. Snute make sure he doesn't miss out on Roach Speed though. If he is going to play the Roach Bait style, it will be very important for him. As a bit of a weird one out of aLive there. Flies the Raven right through the Spore Crawler and 2 Queens, which he knew were there. I'm not sure what exactly the initial goal was for him at that point, as we see aLive now pushing forwards. One of the scary things about this map for any race against a Terran player is this position here of siege tanks, where the tanks can siege up and still hit your natural mineral line. And that's something which Snute is going to have to start getting ready to defend, as this creep spread will alert him of this army pushing forwards. And he's got Roaches starting to gather together. He's about to have 1-1 upgrades, as will the Terran player here in a few moments. Only 1 siege tank, so it's not that terrifying, as the Ling run by from Snute will come in and already force aLive to start thinking about looking back at home rather than the offensive attack which he's got going for himself already. These Lings of Snute will just trade out with the Marines fairly handily. I mean, it's not going to be a perfect trade, but it's not a bad trade at the same time. There's now going to be seeing Lings, Hellions, a couple medevacs, and that siege tank as well to be relocate. And I actually haven't seen the siege tank skin yet from the war chest, so that's kind of interesting. I've been away for the last week or so, which is basically when the new war chest skins came out, so there's a few of them I just haven't seen. The tank looks kind of cool. I like it. One of my preferred skins out of the war chest so far, I think, actually. And it's cool. Looks like a tank. Looks a bit different. Yeah, it's nifty. Alright then. 2 upgrades starting up on either side of the map. Burrow is going to be coming up to being about halfway done. So he obviously just wants to create opportunities for himself as the game continues as to how he can continue on. And some Burrow Micro, obviously with Tunnel and Close combined, can actually get quite a lot of damage done in general with Burrow Roach Harassment. And now the Roach Ravager Force pushes through some rocks on the upper right, just opening up the map for himself, and will run into a few units over here. These Hellions will want to start backing away, a little bit worried about this siege tank. aLive will want to pick that up into the medevacs if he wants to keep it alive, and that's exactly what he does now. And he's just going to be able to pull back up the ramp in towards the natural. Snute not really going to chase too far. He's much more concerned with going into Hive and Spire. Greater Spire play, Enhanced Broodlords will be his current goal now. And that's exactly how we expected Snute to play this. Before this game even really started, we talked about how Snute's playstyle in the ZvT is very much dependent on Roach Ravager into Broodlords. And that's exactly what he's bringing us right now. It's how he likes to play. It's how he will show us what he's playing right now. And especially Abyssal Reef is a great map for it. It's a great map to defend on for a long amount of time. Just time after time, keep on defending, shutting things down. Nice catch on one of the 2 medevacs to the south side. Hits it with the fungal. Follows up with the corrosive bars, and that is a cleanup. Just going to be seeing the double tag production on the way from aLive. Obviously wants a lot of those. The thing is, it's kind of weird, and it's why Snute's build works so well. The fact he rushes up to those Broodlords against, after going Roach Ravager. Broodlords are very good against tanks. They force a lot of friendly fire. They force them to unsiege. But you really do need tanks to be very effective against Roach Ravager. The question is, can Snute hold on and defend until he has Broodlords out? That's when his army is going to be very scary. As it stands right now, it's very difficult to really tell what exactly, will he be able to hold on that long. As we'll see the Infestors here. Going to grab a huge fungal growth, though, aLive. Oh, no. Oh, no. He was so clumped up there. I don't even know what happened for him to get that clumped up. But everything just gathered together suddenly. And all of a sudden, aLive is just going to get completely destroyed. Snute is only close on supply because he's banking so much minerals, so many minerals, so much gas to be able to then go into Corruptors now. And so Snute is looking very good. He is defended And now he's going to have the time he needs to hit Broodlords and then to start making aLive's life very difficult in the next few minutes. Free upgrades from Snute as well. Not going to slow down on any front at the moment. That said, our Terran player is up to 5 bases, 73 workers. You know, as the Terran, he's still not going to feel terrible about the situation. You know, he's sort of okay. Getting some Liberators up right now, but I think Vikings are going to be the key part of being able to fight the Broods. Some Libs will help against Roach Ravager initially, and will kind of force the Corrosive Bowels maybe not just focus on the siege tanks. But then you're also going to need an answer to the Broodlords, and Liberators really are not that. They do very low amounts of damage, but it's the splash damage is very powerful, but they just don't find that sort of splash damage against these units. They really don't. 2 Roaches up the left-hand side. Snute will be sneaking on in here in a moment or two to try and do some damage. I mean, it's not much of a commitment, but again, it's just something to pull aLive away, bring aLive to a different location on the map for just a few moments, stop me from pushing as these Broodlords continue to build on up in numbers. We've got the first few popping out already, 4 of them ready, 4 more about to finish morphing. That's 8 Broods to play against, and again, the Viking production is really only just starting. Snute will start more Corruptors to get ready to defend these Broodlords, but initially here, with, you know, a couple Infestors and Vials, he should be able to protect them fairly well. He'll be forcing the siege tanks to unsiege, which gives the Roach Ravager so much freedom to just push on in and to really attack into this army. 5 Vikings now on the way out. Now that's a little bit more like it. That's the sort of numbers which will be able to potentially turn Snute's army away, push these Broodlords back. Corrosive Bowels do catch something. They're not sure what it was. It might have been a Viking already. Either way, we're going to be seeing the Broods getting ready to push on forwards, and here we go. Broodling's going to start dropping down. This is the issue, right? Because now the siege tanks will start a friendly fire, and you got to decide whether you're actually going to be keeping those tanks sieged up, or whether you're going to unsiege them, and then allowing the Roach Ravager to run on in. Right now, aLive is going to be very stubborn and keep them sieged. We see Snute is going to target them down, though. Wow, that volley of Broodlings completely destroys this here. Secret Missile will come down into the Broods. Snute will not really split away from this very well, but he does have Queens for Transfusers, and so far that's what's been keeping these Broods alive against the volleys of what has been very low number of Vikings. The Viking count now a little bit higher. As a Roach Ravager Broodlord will get ready to push up this left-hand side. There's 1 tank still sieged up here, and well, here we go. Broods pushing forwards again. The Broodlings come on in. Not many tanks to friendly fire, I suppose. He's been putting a lot of his gas production or gas mining into these Vikings, which are now fungal, though. And those Corrosive Bowels from Snute, they never really do miss, do they? More Bowels coming on in as he continues to push through this position. Another fungal goes down. GG from aLive, and Snute will take the first game of this best of 2 on Abyssal. You know, when WardiTV is the biggest Twitch channel on Twitch, you know, then you can be like, yo, I remember when I was an OG kind of WardiTV supporter. I was pre-20k followers, man. People are gonna look at you like, whoa, no way. You're gonna be like, yeah, man, I'm cool as flipping hell, you know. Alright, and more serious news, we do have a game on our hands on Odyssey. This is interesting, actually. I kind of thought Snute might have picked Abyssal Reef because of how well it plays into his playstyle. But I can't imagine aLive picking Odyssey against a Zerg player, so it sort of feels as though Snute has won on aLive's map pick. And now we're going to have Snute playing on his own map pick. And this is the sort of map where he could still play the same style he just played, but it could be the map we do see him change things up, and we do see him play Lingbane Muta or Lingbane Hydra. Lingbane Muta, I think, is a more sort of Snute-esque sort of style. I think he's more likely to play that than Lingbane Hydra. But let's see what the game brings us. We're a minute into Odyssey. Top left-hand side, Team Liquid Snute is the red Zerg player. Bottom right-hand side from my Insanity, the blue Terran player here today is aLive. In Snute, we believe, says Mutacrux in the chat. Very smooth from Snute, says VClave. GG, says Celebifil. Lots of GGs coming through. Come on aLive, says Glor. I'm just going to call you Glor. Not going to attempt the end of your name until you teach me it properly someday. Not a single mistake. That was great, says Holy Warrior. Got a lucky fungal ball in the first big army. I actually really don't know what happened there from aLive, because it's one of these positions where there's no reason for his whole army to suddenly clump up, and yet it did. And it wasn't really going anywhere. Like, it wasn't even backing away and clumping up. It wasn't pushing forwards and clumping up. It was just sort of staying where it already was while clumping up. It was a really weird sort of scenario. It was a really weird situation to kind of watch unfold, because it really was one of these things where it's like, that shouldn't be happening, you know? Kind of weird, kind of interesting. Reaper's going to pull back home early this time around to deny the first couple of lings doing the damage they want to get done in the early stages. He plays ZvT like the beginning of Legacy of the Void. I mean, Snute, which was a big advocate of playing this Roach Ravager style in early Legacy of the Void. He was one of the players who designed this play style. I remember we had a lot of different ways to play TVZ in the start of Legacy of the Void, and Nurture used to play super fast ultras off of melee upgrades, but after Roaches, he played Roaches with melee upgrades into fast ultras. That was like the Nurture style. Scarlet had her own style of going into Roach upgrades into ultras, but Snute has always been playing this kind of Roach Ravager Infester and not hitting Hive Tech for a little bit longer, and now more recently Roach Ravager into Broodlords, which is something he was doing a little bit more when he went into the WCS season finals last year against Pult in Katowice. That was something he used a lot during that series. A series which I think was very winnable for Snute back then, actually. But Pult was really just a master of his mind games in that event, and especially in the finals, Pult was playing all of these crazy sort of strategies. He's playing like 5 racks of 2, like really crazy pushes that were just catching Snute off guard, and really was the key feature to beating him when he really was struggling a little bit to beat Snute in the later games. The biggest Twitch channel on Twitch, yeah, man. Don't want to be the biggest Twitch channel on YouTube. That'd be shit. That'd be kind of mental. Can you imagine your biggest Twitch channel on YouTube? I don't even know what that would mean, but it sounds awesome, right? Sounds cool. Reaper here just moving around. The first few Hellions moving across. This time, a much faster transition out of Hellion production with the 2 extra barracks coming down. That's because it was a faster free CC. 1 single gas, no starport was built. Super fast free CC, something Snute identifies now. And now Snute, once he cleans up these Hellions, all he has to do is drone. There isn't going to be any real further pressure for him for the next minute and a half, 2 minutes, until kind of there is going to be a couple of medevacs on the map. Oh wow, Snute's really just slow to clean these Hellions up though. 9 workers killed, well, that's a lot more than I think aLive should have been getting out of this attack. And I think he's 11 workers. I mean, again, like 11 workers is never great to lose for Snute. It should have been a better defense. It's always a gamble of roll of the dice when you run those Hellions into a mineral line, and this definitely was better for aLive. But I can't help but feel when you only ever make 4 Hellions, now look at the situation. He's got very little back at home. He has no map control anymore. And Snute has a lot of freedom to do what he wants, even though he lost 11 workers. You gotta look at this as like, well, was that actually overall still kind of justifiable? As these Lings, they might just fight here. I mean, there's only 3 Marines. He's gonna back away, not gonna feel like there's opportunities. Is there? It's not about to finish up, I guess. I guess he wouldn't have really broken through. By the time he starts to break through, the engineering base finish and they get repaired. So just saving himself the Lingers and pulling back. So about to finish up, and there's that starport, 2 medevacs on the way. And as you mentioned about that 6-minute marker, that's going to be when we see these Marines and these medevacs pushing across with the stim pack, but the ability to just lift up and back away whenever they need to, so that they can basically just be kind of creep cleaning squads. And that's when Snute's going to have to make a few units. But he's not going to have to make a ton of units because they really are there just to clean creep. They're not really looking to fight. That means that Snute can continue onwards his quest towards 70, 80 workers and just into that very strong mid-game. Melee upgrades this time around as well. Obviously a major difference from what we saw in game number 1. As now the lair starts up, we're already seeing big indications of the fact that Snute will play very differently. He will be looking to play a Ling Bane play style rather than Roaches. Let's see how that works out. The double drop will actually not go creep clearing right away. We'll come to the left-hand side. May just be looking to get a cancel or even a kill on that gold base. Let's see what happens in just a few moments as he positions over here. aLive will be unloading in the next few seconds. Then we're seeing these Marines unloading, the medevacs then ready to help them in their attack forward. Some Lings getting into position here though, but will these Lings on their own be enough? Don't think so. Queens are not here either, and so the drones pushed away. 4 or 5 workers going down. aLive will now turn and fight the gold base. And Snute's starting to take some heavy damage on this here. A few more Bins morphed in, some extra Zerglings still on the way out too. But this base is gone. Marines very easily cleaning that up. Not even 1-1 upgrades, just the sheer fact that Snute just wasn't quite ready with units. And now 2 more medevacs coming over. This is where it might get a bit difficult for Snute, where he starts to get caught off guard initially. The momentum begins to build for the Terran player. It can be very difficult to put a stop to that momentum, to put an end to it, and to really give Snute a position to kind of fight back in. As you are going to see, 1 creep chamber going down, the other one gets cancelled. And you're just going to be seeing those Marines pushing forwards, getting rid of a couple of the creep chambers here. And an Overlord is getting picked off as well. Still some creep being cleaned out. He actually missed 2 of these active tumors though, which is obviously kind of important because it means Snute can just respread these when he gets the chance to retake that kind of position. 4th base from Snute is on the way up. The Hive coming through here. He has gone into the Spire and then the Hive, but he went Infestation Pit first to get the Hive ASAP. So getting that set up, getting that rolling. He's still got to deal with aLive's army on the map, which has just been patrolling around and looking for opportunities to clean up further creep, take fights, and obviously if things get dangerous, he just lifts up and backs away. And that's the power of the kind of Terran army at this stage of the game. Before Mutalisks are out, you can just lift up and relocate so easily with so many of these Marines. Those Medivacs just have so much power in that regard. Couple more Widow Mines on the way out as well. Obviously against a non-Roach playstyle, the Widow Mines will be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more helpful, and will help you a bit more throughout the mid-game. Generally, it's a much more preferred kind of way of playing against Ling Bane rather than the siege tanks, which are, especially against Ling Bane Muta, for example, the Mutas are very good at picking away at tanks, whereas the Widow Mines are a little bit more effective because they can actually fight back against Mutalisks. 2 Medivacs load up, and they start to move on over to the left-hand side here. So I'm going to start moving on over to the left where they will find the gold base, which is being rebuilt. So it does have a new 4th to the top side, but you would love to have this 4th coming in on the gold instead. Drop over there while there's also pressure at the top side. And again, aLive doing a beautiful job of just maintaining Snute on the 3-4 bases, keeping him busy. Snute is well split up here though, and he will be able to force this back. But again, he doesn't really kill anything apart from one Marauder, which he actually used a couple of Banes on, which is not really the definition of efficiency. In fact, it's kind of the anti-definition of efficiency. Marines gathering up together again to push on up and see what else they can do. Widow Mines, Marines, Marauders, Liberators going on towards the upper left as we're going to be seeing Lings running on down. We're going to try and do a little bit more. Muta's going to come in and try and just pick away at a couple of these Medivacs. And obviously this is the difference now. The fact there's actually Mutas on the map, suddenly he can pick away at these Medivacs and shut these drops down. However, he needs to get some action rolling for himself over here because he has got an army to deal with. aLive, because of the early damage, because of the consistent controlling of the map, he's been able to just create himself such an advantage in the game. Whilst he's been being very greedy, he's been playing Ling Bane Muta, but he's never kind of stopped on Ling Bane Muta like you usually would. He's actually gone straight to Ultras. So aLive has been able to max out, and again, Snute's greed is going to lose him this top side base. He will defend the left-hand side, so he has got 4 bases still. He has got Ultras coming up. He will be about to max out, so Snute's got opportunities in the game. Even if it hasn't looked pretty fun for the last 2 minutes, he's been building for the Ultras to finish basically for a long time. And this is Snute's best chance in the game that he's had basically for a long time. The fact he's survived this long is already an achievement. As you can see, a few more Liberators just joining up together. And this army, Marine Marauder, Widow Mine 4, Medivacs in the skies and Liberators here too. I mean, obviously the Liberator is going to be a big way to help out against the Ultras, but there is Mutas here. And those Mutas will be able to fight against those Libs to some extent. Here we go, aLive is not really pre-split against this or anything, as we're going to see the entire fight coming through. But man, the Mutas were clumped, the 4s did devastating damage to them, the Liberators didn't go down. And so everything from Snute just ended up melting. He took that engagement pre-kiting his plane, so the Ultras were even squishy against the Bio Forces. And everything went the way of aLive there in that engagement. Even if he wasn't really initially completely prepared for it, he was prepared enough. He had what he needed. And Snute maybe just jumping the gun a little bit, pre-kiting his plane, etc. Marauder's taking the lead now to take some of the Baneling shots. Marines behind, and aLive will take game 2. Tie this one up 1-1. And that will be